I call this meeting to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Attending tonight, will the clerk please take attendance?
All council members are present, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Action on approval of the agenda. Entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Will the clerk please call the roll?
Specker,
Aye.
Tiltonburn,
Aye.
Wendell,
Aye.
Avery,
Aye.
Duran,
Aye.
Niemeyer,
Aye.
Rasmussen.
Okay. Is there any member of the public who wishes to address the council tonight? It's not listed on tonight's agenda. Seeing none, we'll move on to the consent agenda. Approval of the consent agenda. Are there any items to need to be removed from the consent agenda? Seeing none, entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Is there any public comment on any of the items on the agenda? Council questions, comments? City clerk, please call the roll.
Tiltonburn,
Aye.
Wendell,
Aye.
Avery,
Aye.
Duran,
Aye.
Niemeyer,
Aye.
Rasmussen,
Aye.
Specker.
Okay, presentations and reports. We have introduction of promoted city employees. Paul Brasino, our city manager, will be the first one up to introduce one of his employees.
Wonderful. Ashley, would you mind coming? Ashley is our newest hire for director. Ashley, and I'm very honored to introduce Ashley as the newest city of organization. Ashley has been with the city of Brookings Finance Department for the last 3 years. Prior to the promotion, Ashley was responsible for supervising statements, managing grants and audits, as well as assisting with the preparation of the annual budget. In her new role as the finance director, she'll also oversee the liquor store as well as the finance department. Ashley has her master's in professional accounting from the University of South Dakota, obtained her certification from government financial manager designation from the Association of Government Accountants in 2021. She also has 15 years of experience that she's bringing to us as a for the finance director role, experience in both public and private sectors. Prior to her role with the city of Brookings, she's also finance director in the city of Volga for 5 years, and then also holds many years of private sector experience as well. Very excited to have Ashley in this position, in this role, and I'm very confident the city of Brookings will be both fiscally responsible and viable for the foreseeable future, thanks to Ashley's work and efforts. So thank you, Ashley. Excited to have you on board as the finance director. And it's up to you if you want to say anything. The public's watching, the council's here. We have a full audience as well.
Well, I'm very excited and grateful to serve as your guys' finance director. I have the great fortune to work with a great staff, both at the liquor store and in our finance department, and I'm looking forward to working with all the departments in our city as well as our community partners to keep Brookings moving in a positive direction. So, thank you.
All right, Chief, you're on now.
Good evening, everybody. Can you all hear me? Okay. So, the CPSM study when the community demanded the police department be more professional, to be better at their job. Upon the retirement of the last chief and then hiring this crazy New Yorker to come in, we took you very seriously, and we came up with, that there had to be shift supervisors in the police department. And that was a demand not only from the mayor's office, from city council, the employees, but you as the community. And it was a year-long process, and I could say it was very easy for me, but the 3 corporals that you're going to see tonight was a culmination of that entire year process and all the hard work that they put into it. And it was because they love this community, because they believe in it, because they take it personally, and every day they come to work, they want to lead by example, which is why we had over half of the sworn membership in the police department put in to be a It started really in February when we gave them about 10,000 pages of material study for a written exam that they had to sit for 8 hours. That was broken into 3 sections: closed book, open book, and a written assessment, which was over 180 questions. There were 11 of them competing for 4 positions. After that, we brought in outside sources from Sioux Falls, Watertown, and Vermillion to be the chief of police and captain that sat on these interview panels and provided them with 2 oral assessment center exercises that they also had to perform well and score in. And tonight, it is my pleasure as your chief for the last year to bring up these 3 corporals with their family and introduce them to not only the city council, the employees, but the community. So, Mr. Mayor, can you come on down? And I would invite Corporal Engstrom, Corporal Kreitner, and Corporal Vukovic to come forward with you and your families, please.
It's not working. Now it's on. Thank you. It needs to be a little higher. Okay, now you can all hear me, although I'm a loud New Yorker anyway, so. So, Mr. Mayor and City Council employees and the community, I would like to first introduce you to Corporal Dustin Engstrom. So would you please come forward with your family, Dustin? He is in the presence here with his father, Greg, his mother, Marie, and his wife, Chelsea. And I'm sure as I stand here that they've been by his side since. Very proud of him. But Dustin comes from Minnesota, where he did serve in the Marine Corps, and he did other things in his life as 6 years as a military police officer before coming to Brookings and serving with us for the past 5 years as a patrol officer. And in that time, he has grown to be the man that you see before him. And without the, with the support of the family you see with him, he was able to get promoted to the rank of corporal. Should be noted that Dustin finished #1 on the exam out of all 11 candidates. And setting that example and moving forward, the 3 candidates that you see tonight are the succession plan for this department and its professionalism for the future. I do expect one of these gentlemen to be the chief of police at one point, but not until I'm ready to leave, which is like 15, 20 years down the road. So with Dustin, like I said before, Greg, Marie, and Chelsea are here to honor him. It is a great privilege in the police department and in the history of all police agencies to do what we call a pinning ceremony. So even though he has the chevrons on his right and left shoulder, his parents will pin his chevrons for corporal, the 2 stripes on one collar, and his wife will pin the other one. And then at that point, the mayor will congratulate him, we'll take some photos, and then we'll move on. That's what you get for being tall. Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Dustin. Our next candidate is Corporal Austin Kreitner. If you could please come forward. Present with his father, Wayne, his mother, Carol, and his fiancee, Alyssa. Austin has come to us about 5 years ago, has also been a patrol officer for that long. He came from the University Police Department, where he was a student officer for a year, and then he also worked as a correctional officer at the Sheriff's Department here in Brookings County for 2 years, and then did patrol here for 5 years. Austin is definitely the type who likes to come to work, who likes to dive right in and lead by example. And again, meeting his mother and father earlier and knowing that his wife also works for the police department as a dispatcher, I know where he gets his drive and his support from, and it's a great honor. So at this time, please have your parents and your fiance pin you with your corporal chevrons. And our final candidate is Jacob Vukovic, and he is accompanied by his father, Matt, his wife, Rayanne, and their new baby daughter, Brexley, who is 2 weeks old, maybe? Oh, 4, sorry. Please come forward. Jacob was hired by the police department in May of 2017, so he's been with us for 6 years in Brookings. He was a paramedic prior to this for 6 years or so, for quite a while, and had been in the public service and then decided to join the police force, and we couldn't be more thankful for it. So at this time, I would ask that Jacob's father pin him with his corporal stripes on his collar, and his wife, Rand, pin him on the other one. Mr. Mayor, I'd say you could shake his hand, but I don't want the baby to drop on the floor. Although he is a paramedic. Congratulations. The only thing I would say at the very end, and I know I've talked to the mayor about this with full support, and I'll have you applaud them in 1 second. I'm going to speak to just the families for 1 minute. I know you've supported these fellows through the last 20, 30 years of their lives, but their life has just enormously become more complicated because they're getting it from every angle. And speaking from experience and having that good partner in my wife, very, very important in being a leader in policing in these days. They're going to have days where they go to work and they're getting it from the patrol officers that they're supervising, their New York police chief who's being very demanding, from the community that's not cooperating, and they're going to really feel like it's coming at them from all angles. And what I would ask is instead of asking them what you could do, just be there to support them and to know that your love and guidance in those dark days is what's going to get them through it. Just be very patient, be really understanding, and just know that they made this commitment to the community by sacrificing all those hours that they didn't spend with you by studying and preparing for this day, that it doesn't go unnoticed, and that you can repay them by being understanding and be there as moral support. So to all the families, to the corporals, I say congratulations on behalf of the mayor and the city council, from the department and the employees and the community. It's a great day. Congratulations. So round of applause, please, from everybody. And now if you all could get together, City Council, Mr. Mayor, if you could join them in the front of the dais here, and you can all get together for a group photo. That's fine, sir. If you guys want to come up and join, you're more than welcome to.
Yeah, get in there nice and tight. And Brianna, you always say, there we go. I was going to make sure I have her. Smile and keep smiling.
Thank you all again for your time and patience.
Okay, so we have a proclamation. I'll come down and read this one. Invite members of possibly BEDC, SDSU, and Brookings Multicultural. go down a little bit. I'm a little shorter than everybody else. Mayoral proclamation, whereas Brookings' thriving international community contributes to our community's high quality of life and provides a vital economic impact to the Brookings area. And whereas Brookings has greatly benefited from having hundreds of international students from over 80 countries enrolled at SDSU. And whereas the Brookings Multicultural Center, the Brookings Economic Development Corporation, and the South Dakota State University Office of International Affairs will hold the second annual International Ice Cream Social and Community Fair to welcome international faculty and graduate students and their families to our community. Now therefore I be resolved that I, Ope K.G. Niemeyer, Mayor of the City of Brookings, do hereby proclaim Wednesday, August 16th, 2023, as a day to celebrate the cultures of our community. And if you got anything you want to say, go ahead.
The Brookings Multicultural Center is dedicated to developing a supportive and inclusive environment through organizing events, workshops, and activities promoting cultural awareness, knowledge, and skills in our community.
And on behalf of Brookings Multicultural Center, we'd like to invite the public to the second annual International Faculty and Student Ice Cream Social. This family event will be held at Good Roots Farms and Gardens on Wednesday, August 16, from 7 to 9 p.m. Thank you.
And speaking of the Office for International Affairs at SDSU, we appreciate the leadership of Brookings Multicultural Center in organizing this event. The pleasure to co-sponsor, and I will put a number to that economic impact. It's going to be over $18 million this year, just with the international students, scholars, and their families. So we hope that they're patronizing all of our businesses, and I hope you get to meet a few of them, maybe on Wednesday night next week.
Okay, thank you very much. I attended the first one last year, and it was really cool. Besides that, the ice cream was good too, but it was close to 50 countries that were represented what makes Brookings really good. The diversity always really makes things fun. So appreciate it, and look forward to next Wednesday.
Thank you.
Okay, our next item is 6C 2023 second quarter finance report. Ashley Wrench, our new finance director, will present this item.
Well, this is the second quarter finance report for 2023. In this report, and give a second quarter economic update. I'll also discuss the year-to-date budget to actuals and update you on the community ARPA funding, and also the City Council Priority Projects Fund. As of the end of June, the city is at 11% above budget and is up 7% from last year for first and second penny sales tax and overall. Third penny sales tax is at 12% above budget and 8% above last year, and pillow tax is at 16% above budget and 5% over last year. As you can see on this slide, inflation has begun to stabilize over the second quarter, and Midwest CPI in January was at 6.4% and has steadily decreased month over month, now at 3% in June. This slide shows the sales tax revenue by category. Retail, trade, and services continue to be our largest categories, with one interesting development in that we have seen some larger gains in the manufacturing category this year, while wholesale trade, which was performing a little bit stronger during the pandemic, is now seeing year-over-year decreases. The transportation and utility sector has also seen some decreases, but gains in all the other categories have offset these, and we are seeing that overall increase of 7% year-over-year. Like you saw on the sales tax slide, Midwest CPI has come down to 3% as of June. Real gross domestic product grew by 2.4% in the second quarter, and it was only projected to grow by 1.8%. This is due to increased consumer spending in both goods and services during the quarter. The cooling inflation combined with the strong GDP growth and low unemployment suggests that While a recession is still possible, it may come later than originally predicted and may also be more mild than anticipated. For the first half of the year, the city's budget is on track and where we would expect it to be based on seasonality of operations and conservative budgeting of both revenues and expenditures. As of the end of June, the general fund's expenditures were at 36% and revenues were at 56%. Much of the seasonal payroll expenditures and certain seasonal revenues are recognized in the third quarter, so we'll see that on the next report. And in the CIP fund, we were at 21% of expenditures at the end of the first half of the year and 39% for revenues. Again, most of these costs will be recognized later in the year as construction projects wrap up and other purchases are made. Some significant expenditures in the second quarter included some payments for the 22nd Avenue project, a payloader for the street division, and HVAC upgrades at Larson Ice Center. Some of, overall at the end of June, the city was at 30% for expenditures and 46% for revenues. On this slide, we have a quick update on the ARPA funding for the community. Clark Drew Construction recently requested their remaining balance as they work on the second phase of their workforce housing development. This phase will include 4 buildings with 12 living units. Interlakes Community Action Partnership has requested $15,545 so far for reimbursement of rental and deposit assistance provided to residents. And Brookings Area Habitat for Humanity has requested $27,500 of their $110,000 allocation to begin construction on a home. I'll end the presentation with a quick view of where we stand with our City Council Priority Projects Fund. This is made up of our general fund reserves. As of the end of 2022, we had approximately $11.78 million available in the Priority Projects Fund, and currently our top priority is the public safety facility, which is estimated at about $16 million, or about $4.2 million more than the current balance. Secondary projects include an indoor rec facility and overall upgrades at the library and activity center. If we fund all of these primary and secondary projects, we would need an additional $10.2 million. You'll hear more about our City Council priority projects in our upcoming budget presentations later on this year. And this concludes our second quarter update. Let me know if you have any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Ashley. Any comments, questions from council? Councilmember Specker.
Ashley, can you deadline is on the spending of the ARPA funds?
I don't think there's a hard and fast deadline. It was mostly the projects were planned to be completed by the end of 2024, but that's not necessarily a deadline.
Yeah, I would add to that. Ashley's exactly right. 2024 is what the traditional deadline is, but because of the way in which the city received them, we have multiple years beyond that to expend those funds.
Thank you.
Ex officio reports. Anybody from the utility board? Okay, and then Brookings Health System.
We did not meet this month. We'll meet at the end of the month for August, but no.
Forward to a report in September then. This is first readings. Introduction to first reading on ordinance 23-021, an ordinance amending Article 2 of Chapter 38, Flood Damage Prevention in City, and of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Brookings, South Dakota. John Thompson, our Public Works Director, will present this item.
Mayor, City Council members, John Thompson, your Public Works Director. Presented for your consideration tonight is the first reading of Ordinance 23-121. This ordinance focuses on flood damage prevention in the city. On your direction as staff. This presentation will focus on the proposed ordinance and is not related to the draft FEMA maps. Staff will return to your council to address the proposed FEMA maps at a later date. Slide number 1. The city hired ISG consultants to study the local floodplain and provide recommendations on potential projects and, if needed, modifications to our current ordinance code, which was last updated in 1996. Since 1996, there's been a significant improvements to technology that now provide highly accurate mapping and modeling of floodways and floodplains. In addition, the frequency and behavior of storm events has become more and more unpredictable. Currently, our ordinance code requires that structures be constructed at 1 foot above the base flood elevation. Several communities have recently increased that requirement to be at least 2 foot or more above the base flood elevation. The draft language being proposed tonight has been developed with the help of our consultant, ISG, along with feedback from our conversations with the City of Sioux Falls Planning Department. And staff has also conferred with local civil engineering firms to get their feedback on the language. This language has been designed to address the more common developments. Ultimately, there will be specific developments with criteria that are outside of the circumstances, and within the ordinance code, there's a variance process that we can follow for those. It can't cover everybody on all developments. We just don't know those. And then, as we think about this proposal tonight, please keep in mind that the primary intent of this ordinance is to protect human life and minimize potential flood hazards and impacts within our community. So slide number 2 covers the freeboard requirements. Hold a second. I think there we go. It went a little too far. That was slide number 1. Slide number 2 covers the summary of recommended changes. In your agenda packet, you'll find a red line version and a clean version of the proposed ordinance. And within this slide, it kind of covers the overall general changes that we had. Number 1, it requires structures now be built to and constructed at least 2 foot above the base flood elevation, which is also known as the 100-year flood elevation. It requires compensatory storage equal to the volume of the floodplain displaced. It also provides exemptions for compensatory storage for those houses and lots that have already been platted and constructed for new single-family residents, minor projects that have negligible impact like utility work or roads resurfacing, and then flood protection of structures within 10 foot of the structure. The proposed language also has an expiration term to the existing and new floodplain permits that are not commenced within 1 year of issuance or delayed for 180 days. We had to have some type of term on that. Slide number 3. On this slide, we've provided a reference to a few other communities and what they've done for the freeboard. When we talk about freeboard, you can kind of think about that if you have a pond and the berm goes around the pond, it's that distance of that soil berm around the pond. So that's freeboard or above the base flood elevation. Like Cedar Rapids, Iowa and Coralville, Iowa are all at 2 foot, but Des Moines, Iowa is at 3 foot and Sioux Falls, South Dakota is at 3 foot. When we were talking to our ISG reps and Sioux Falls, they went to 3 foot based on the density that they have and the topography that they have. It was just too tight, and they have some more constraints down there that they needed to increase it by the 3 foot instead of 2 foot. And that's the reason why you see some of these variances. When we talk about compensatory storage, I know that's kind of been confusing a little bit, but what you should look at on compensatory storage is basically whatever the developer is going to pull out of the floodplain within their parcel, that volume of soil needs to be taken out within that same floodplain, within that same parcel or with an adjoining parcel under the same ownership. So it's just swapping of soil and volume. Sioux Falls requires a 1-to-1. Des Moines, Iowa is 1.5 to 1. We are proposing a 1-to-1. So every cubic foot you take out here, you got to accommodate that for the floodplain area within that parcel. And that's basically to ensure that we mitigate any negative impacts. So you're not impacting your neighbor. So you're not pushing those flood waters or that floodplain water over to your neighbors. That hopefully makes sense. However, these changes, we will have some impacted developable areas. On this slide, you'll see two aerial shots. The one on the left side is the FEMA FIR map. That's the current map. And everyone here knows, our areas within the city, within the community, the northwest and the southwest are kind of really the areas that we're concerned with for flooding more than anywhere else. The current FEMA map, the northwest quadrant, southwest quadrant, and the preliminary map from FEMA, which we're going to be coming back to you in a few months, it actually takes out some of it in the southwest corner. But those are the two areas that are probably going to be impacted the most. And I think that basically concludes my presentation. We're open to any questions. I also have Charlie Richard. Any technical questions that I can't answer?
Thanks, John. Any council questions, comments? Second reading and the next, oh, Councilmember Wendell.
Thank you, Mayor. John, when you were talking about the storage, you noted that compensatory storage would have to be replaced within the same parcel is the recommendation here. I noticed Sioux Falls language was general area.
Yeah.
Is that
so? In ours, we tightened it up a little bit. Sioux Falls, when we were talking to Sioux Falls, the city of Sioux Falls has a lot of land that they'll bargain with for compensatory storage. We don't have that here. So what we required is within the same parcel, or if it's a larger development, adjoining parcel under common ownership. So that way we don't have, you know, a development way down the south end of town and, well, compensatory storage is way up here maybe. So yeah, it's addressed to tighten that up to the same parcel or adjoining parcel under common ownership.
That makes good sense. Thank you.
Yeah.
Reading on that next meeting. Item 8B, introduction and first reading on ordinance 23-026, an ordinance authorizing amendment number 7 to the 2023 budget. And Ashley Wrench, our finance director, will.
Members of the council, this is the first reading of ordinance 23-026, amendment number 7 to the 2023 budget. The fire department will be replacing engine 2 this month at a cost of $609,095 for 2022, and we considered financing it through an interfund loan. However, due to last year's strong sales tax revenues and having built up 2 years of payments in the budget, we are planning to pay for engine 2 in full out of the CIP fund. This ordinance increases the fire department capital budget by $393,608 to provide budget authority for this purchase. The second reading of this ordinance will be on August 22nd, and with that, I'll stand by for questions.
Thank you. On to item 9, public hearings and second readings. Item 9A, second reading and action on ordinance 23-025, an ordinance authorizing amendment to amendment number 6 to the 2023 budget. Ashley Wrench will present this item also.
Reading of ordinance 23-025, amendment 6 to the 2023 budget. This is a 4-part budget projects going on throughout the city and being managed by our engineering division. Part 1 increases the 22nd Avenue project expenditure budget per the change order from $142,200 and increases the reimbursement revenues by $96,473 to account for 3M's portion of the project. Part 2 increases the University Boulevard project expenditure account by $500,900 for the streetscape portion and increases reimbursement revenues by the same amount as these costs will be covered by SDSU. Part 3 transfers cash and budget authority from the Stormwater Fund to the CIP Fund in the amount of $143,960 so that all costs for the Harvey Dunn storm sewer improvements will be accounted for from the same fund. And similarly, Part 4 transfers cash and budget authority from the CIP Fund to the University Boulevard Capital Project Fund in the amount of $440,000 so that all costs will be accounted for in the same fund. No changes have been made since the first reading, and staff recommends approval of this. For questions, thank you.
Thanks, Ashley. Entertain.
So move.
Moved and second. Is there any public comment on this item? Seeing none, does council questions, comments? Please call the roll.
Wendell.
Aye.
Avery.
Aye.
Duran.
Aye.
Niemeyer.
Aye.
Rasmussen.
Aye.
Specker.
Aye.
Tilton Burn.
Aye.
Okay. Item 9B, public hearing and action on a request for an off-sale malt license for the Crown DBA Danger Von Dempsey's. Jamie Erickson, owner, location 770 22nd Avenue South. Legal description, Lot 2, Brookings Mall Edition, Suite 770. Entertain a motion to, I have Bonnie present the item first.
Mayor, council members, and members of the public, this is a request for a new on-off sale malt license for 770 22nd Avenue South. Danger Von Dempsey's is the expansion of Dempsey's Brewery, Pub, and Restaurant located in Watertown. Approval would allow for the submittal of the paperwork to be sent to the South Dakota Department of Revenue for final review and issuance of this malt license. Staff recommends approval, and we do have a representative from Danger Von Dempsey's here this evening if you have any questions.
All right, thank you, Bonnie. Entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and second. I open the public hearing on this item. Is there any public comment? This would be a great time for the owner to come up and say a few words.
Hi, Bonnie. You were hiding behind the pillar, so I couldn't see you. Everybody, I'm Sean Dempsey from Dempsey's. Just super excited about finally expanding out here to Brookings. I went to state here. My GM, Richard DeGraw, went to state here as well. So we always had very fond memories. Both my sisters graduated back in 2003 and 1998. So we're just going to be a small little 28-seater tap room that's got really good pizzas. And I look really forward to finally getting, we just figured out our opening like an hour ago. So I'm really up to here about, excited to be here. So, and it's Danger Von Dempsey's.
Well, good luck and welcome to Brookings with your business.
Thank you. Is there any questions you need from me or any concerns?
Okay. Any other comments? Have any questions, comments? Yeah, when is the opening date?
That's a secret. This month.
All right. Please call the roll.
Aye.
Niemeyer,
Aye.
Rasmussen,
Aye.
Specker,
Aye.
Tiltonburn,
Aye.
Wendell.
Aye.
There you go.
Thank you very much.
Okay, item 9C, public hearing and action on a request for an on-off sale malt license for with video lottery for Commonwealth Gaming and Holding Corporation, DBA Deuces Casino, Suite 105E, Bryant Solberg and Kirby Mullenberg, owners, 223 6th Street, Suite 105E. Bonnie will present this item.
Mayor, council members, and members of the public, this Commonwealth Gaming and Holdings Company, known as Deuces Casino, originally submitted applications for an on-off malt license, an on-off wine license, and a video lottery authorization in January, at which time it was tabled. City Council removed these items from the table at the July 25th council meeting and placed them on tonight's agenda for consideration and action. The items associated with Deuces Casino, this is for a 5th suite to be located at the 223 6th Street location, where they want to add that 5th Street for an additional 10 video lottery machines, allowing for a total of 50 machines in that suite, in that building. The item before you at the moment is for the request for a new on-off sale malt license. This would allow for the submittal of the paperwork to the Department of Revenue and also allow for action on the second item following this one for a video lottery authorization. Action on the requested video lotterization will take place next. That is not included in this vote. Just do not want to make sure that you're confused about that. Approval staff recommends whatever the council considers for a recommendation.
Thanks, Bonnie. Entertain a motion to approve.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Open the public hearing on this item. Is there any public comment?
I'll come up so you know I'm here. My name is Drew Duncan. I'm a lawyer for Commonwealth Gaming, and I do most of the appearances at city council meetings in the locations that they serve on the eastern side of the state. I think, as everybody knows, there's, I think, 3 agenda items here. I'll speak to the second so I don't have to come up again and so you don't have to hear me speak again. I think, this, as Bonnie said, we appreciate the city council studying this issue. We appreciate you guys removing this from the table and considering it. I've worked for a number of years with Steve on issues like this, and I certainly appreciate his leadership in this issue. I appreciate Bonnie's providing a reminder that we were going to be up here tonight. She doesn't understand how important that is. She does a good job for you guys. I certainly think that we meet the criteria that exists in state statute, most specifically SDCL 427A64. With regards to the criteria, you're not going to see additional, well, we don't think much additional traffic. We don't think that this establishment would violate any of the criteria existing in statute, and we think that this is a suitable location and suitable people to be able to operate this establishment. If anybody has specific questions, I'd be happy to answer them to the best of my ability. And again, thank you for your consideration.
Comments on this item? Public hearing is closed. Any comments from council? Councilmember Tilton Burn.
Remodeling that is planned for this particular suite, based on the information in the packet, it's my understanding that that additional suite does not yet exist, correct?
Mr. Mayor, yeah. Sorry, I should explain why I don't know if you guys use a parliamentary procedure where we go through the chair. I'm so used to doing that at the legislature that it just kind of became old hat. I apologize. Seems kind of weird to do it. The space is built out. I think after we get approval, then we'll go through the process of making sure that that particular space has its own legal description, and then it goes through and meets all the criteria of the statute. It was actually built out, I think, for potential development, I think roughly a year or two ago when we were doing another remodel. It just wasn't the appropriate time to ask for additional machines, but it certainly fit the mold of doing it once rather than doing it twice.
So the space has actually been remodeled, not just been designated?
Yes,
Okay.
That's my understanding, yes.
Okay, thank you.
And I think it's on the kind of the northwest side of the building, if I read the diagrams right. I drove past, but I didn't go inside.
Any other comments, questions? Please call the roll.
Duran,
Aye.
Niemeyer,
Aye.
Rasmussen,
Aye.
Specker,
Aye.
Tilton Burn,
Aye.
Wendell,
Aye.
Avery.
Aye.
All right, move on to item 9D, public hearing and action on a request for video lottery for Commonwealth Gaming and Holding Corporation, DBA Deuces Casino, Brian Solberg and Kirby Mullenberg, owners, 223 6th Street, Suite 105E. Bonnie will present this item.
Mayor, council members, and members of the public, the item before the council is a request for the video lottery authorization. This authorization can only be granted per the issuance of an on-sale alcohol license, which was just approved by the council. If approved, this video lottery authorization will allow up to 10 additional video lottery machines in this location and would bring the total number of lottery machines in this building to 50. I stand by for any questions.
Thanks, Bonnie. Open the public hearing on this item. Is there any public comment on this one? Close the public hearing. Any comments, questions from council? God, I asked for a motion, didn't I? No, maybe I didn't. I'll take that all back. Entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Then move to second, public hearing on this item. Public comments? Seeing none. Council have any comments, questions? Please call the roll.
Niemeyer,
Aye.
Rasmussen,
Aye.
Specker,
Aye.
Tilton Burn,
Aye.
Wendell,
Aye.
Avery,
Aye.
Duran.
Aye.
Move on to 9E, public hearing and action on Resolution 23-005, a resolution authorizing the city manager to enter into an on-off sale wine operating agreement for Commonwealth Gaming and Holdings Company, DBA Deuces Casino, Brian Solberg and Kirby Mullenberg, owners, 223 6th Street, Suite 105E. Bonnie will present this item also.
Mayor, council members, and members of the public, this item is a request to enter into a new on-off sale wine operating agreement for Suite 105E. Operating agreements are issued for 10 years with a 5-year midterm renewal. Approval will allow the city manager to enter into this operating agreement, and then appropriate paperwork would be submitted to the state for final review and issuance of the wine license. I stand by for any questions.
Thanks, Bonnie. Entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Open the public hearing on this item. Is there any public comment? Seeing none, close the public hearing. Does the council have any questions, comments? Please call the roll.
Rasmussen?
Aye.
Specker? Tildenburn?
Aye.
Wendell?
Aye.
Avery?
Aye.
Duran?
Aye.
Niemeyer?
Aye. Okay, on to item 9F, public hearing and action on a request to transfer an on-off sale malt liquor license for Ray's Corner, 401 Main Avenue, from Fergan Enterprise Incorporated, Mike Fergan, owner, to Icon Investments, Todd Voss, owner. Bonnie, will you present this item?
Mayor, council members, and members of the public, Ray's Corner has recently been purchased by Icon Investments, Todd Voss, owner. Items 9F, G, and H on tonight's agenda pertain to the transfer of the alcohol licenses for this location of 401 Main Avenue. The item before you at the moment is a request to transfer the existing on-off sale malt license. And this malt license does not carry a video lottery authorization. Approval would allow the paperwork to be sent to the state for final review and issuance of the malt license transfer. Staff recommends approval.
Thanks, Bonnie. Entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Open the public hearing on this item. Is there any public comment? Todd, you want to say a few words at all?
I guess honored to be the next owner of Ray's Corner. It's kind of an iconic bar, and that's how I come up with the name. And I hope that you guys find a way to approve this. I'm here for any questions.
Thanks, Todd.
This is just malt beverages, not liquor.
Yeah,
Correct. This is
sorry.
just on the malt license.
Malt license, yes, you're right. Public hearing closed. Does the council have any questions, comments? Please call the roll.
Rasmussen?
Aye.
Specker?
Aye.
Tildenburn?
Aye.
Wendell?
Aye.
Avery?
Aye.
Duran?
Aye.
Aye.
Niemeyer?
On to item 9G, public hearing and action on a request to transfer an on-off sale malt license with video lottery authorization for Ray's Corner, 401 Main Avenue, Suite B, from Fergan Enterprise Incorporated, Mike Fergan, owner, to Icon Investments, Todd Voss, owner. Bonnie, you want to present this item also?
Mayor, council members, and members of the public, this item is the transfer of an existing on-off sale malt license which has a video lottery authorization. This is Suite B, located at 401 Main Avenue. I would like to remind you that existing video lottery authorizations may not be denied renewal or transfer based on the criteria set in state law. The only time to deny a video lottery authorization is at the time of initial issuance. Approval of this malt license and video lottery authorization transfer would allow the paperwork to be sent to the State Department of Revenue for review and final approval of the transfer of the licenses. Staff recommends approval.
Thanks, Bonnie. Entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Any public comment on this item? Close public hearing. Comments, council? Questions? Please call the roll.
Specker?
Aye.
Tildenburn?
Aye.
Wendell?
Aye.
Avery?
Aye.
Duran?
Aye.
Niemeyer?
Aye.
Rasmussen?
Aye.
Okay, item 9H, public hearing and action on resolution 23-066, a resolution authorizing the city manager to enter into an on-sale liquor operating agreement with Icon Investments, Todd Voss, owner, for Ray's Corner at 401 Main Avenue. Bonnie, you want to present this item also?
Mayor, council members, and members of the public, this item pertains to the on-sale liquor operating agreement for 401 Main Avenue. Operating agreements are entered into for 10 years with a 5-year midterm renewal. Approval would allow the city manager to enter into a new 10-year operating agreement with Icon Investments, with the required paperwork being forwarded to the Department of Revenue for final review and issuance of that on-sale liquor license. Staff recommends approval.
Thanks, Bonnie. Entertain a motion to approve.
So
So
moved.
moved.
Move second. Is there any public hearing on, or any public comment on this item? Close public hearing. Does the council have any questions, comments? Please call the roll.
Tilton Burn,
Aye.
Wendell, Avery,
Aye.
Duran,
Aye.
Niemeyer,
Aye.
Rasmussen,
Aye.
Specker.
Aye.
Motion passes. Congratulations, Todd, on your new investment. Hope things go well. Item 91, public hearing and action on a request to transfer an on-off sale malt license with video lottery authorization for 2515 6th Street from 25th Avenue LLC, DBA The Lodge, Dennis Biefeld owner, to On In 2 LLC, DBA Boss's Pizza and Sports Bar, Dallas Wilkinson and Darren Newberg, owners. Bonnie, please present this item.
Mayor, council members, and members of the public, Boss's Pizzeria and Sports Bar will be the new manager of the alcohol licenses associated with the location of 2515 6th Street. The South Dakota Department of Revenue requests the entity which purchases and sells the alcoholic product to be the manager of the alcoholic license. Items 9I and 9J on tonight's agenda pertain to the transfer of the licenses at this location from Denwell Investments, 25th Avenue LLC to, On Into LLC. This item would be to transfer the existing on-off sale malt license with the video lottery authorization. Again, reminding you that the time to deny a video lottery authorization is at the time of the initial issuance, not at the time of transfer based on criteria set forth in state law. Approval would allow the submittal of the required paperwork to be sent to the state for final review and issuance and the transfer of the licenses. Staff recommends approval.
Thanks, Bonnie. Entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Open the public hearing on this item. Is there any public comment?
Me and my partner Dallas Wilkinson have been in the restaurant industry for many years. I ran Johnny Carino's in Sioux Falls for 18 years and thought I was going to get out of the industry and got right back in. And I've really enjoyed coming up to Brookings and meeting the community. And I look forward to really connecting, especially with SDSU people. One of my good buddies is the head coach for the girls soccer team at SDSU, and getting to know the high school community as well, and meeting all the lovely people around here. So yeah, it's gone great, but as we all know, the restaurant industry is not easy. I'm sure he knows as well, trying to find the right people to take over. But yeah, I'm excited, and I hope it continues. So I answer any questions that you may have.
All right, thank you. Any other? Close public hearing. Comments from council? Questions? All right, please call the roll.
Avery,
Aye.
Duran,
Aye.
Niemeyer,
Aye.
Rasmussen,
Aye.
Specker,
Aye.
Tilton Burn,
Aye.
Wendell.
Aye.
All right, and then we have another one here, 9J, public hearing and action on resolution 23-071, a resolution authorizing the city manager to enter into a full-service on-sale restaurant liquor operating agreement for 2515 6th Street, On Into LLC, DBA Boss's Pizzeria and Sports Bar, Dallas Wilkinson and Darren Nobarg, owners. Bonnie will present this item also.
Mayor, council members, and members of the public, approval would allow the city manager to enter into a new full-service on-sale restaurant liquor operating agreement with On Into LLC. Upon approval, paperwork would be sent to the state of South Dakota for review and issuance of the license transfer. Staff recommends approval.
Thank you, Bonnie. Entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Moved second. Is there any public comment on this item? Not. We'll close public hearing. Does the council have any questions, comments on this item? Please call the roll.
Wendell.
Aye.
Avery.
Aye.
Duran.
Aye.
Niemeyer.
Aye.
Rasmussen.
Aye.
Specker.
Aye.
Tilton Burn.
Aye.
Okay. Congratulations. Thank you. Item 9K, public hearing and action on request to transfer on an on-off sale malt license for George's Pizza, 311 Main Avenue, from George's Pizza Incorporated, Theodopoulos, owner to MZP3 Enterprises LLC, Justin Price and Janice Minder, owner. Bonnie Foster will present this item also.
Mayor, council members, and members of the public, George's Pizza, 311 Main Avenue, has recently been purchased by MZP3 Enterprises. Items 9K and 9L on tonight's agenda pertain to the alcohol licenses for the 311 Main Avenue location. This item will transfer the existing on-off malt license. There is no video authorization with this license. Approval would allow the paperwork to be submitted to the South Dakota Department of Revenue for final review and issuance of the transfer. Representatives from MZP3 are here tonight. If you have any questions, staff recommends approval.
Entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Open the public hearing on this item. Is the new owner want to have any comments? All right, you had your chance. Public hearing is closed. Does council have any questions, comments? Please call the roll.
Duran,
Aye.
Niemeyer,
Aye.
Rasmussen,
Aye.
Specker,
Aye.
Tilton Burn,
Aye.
Wendell,
Aye.
Avery.
Aye.
Okay, item 9L, public hearing and action on resolution 23-070, resolution authorizing the city manager to enter into an on-off sale wine operating agreement for MZP3 Enterprise LLC, DBA George's Pizza, Justin Price and Janice Minder, owners, 311 Main Avenue. Bonnie will also present this item.
Mayor, council members, and members of the public, this item pertains to a new on-off sale wine operating agreement. Operating agreements are issued for 10 years with a 5-year midterm renewal. Approval would allow the city manager to enter into said operating agreement, and submittal of the paperwork would be sent to the State Department of Revenue for review and final issuance of that wine license. Staff recommends approval.
Entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved second. Open the public hearing on this item. Is there any public comment? Public hearing is closed. Does the council have any questions, comments? Please call the roll.
Niemeyer,
Aye.
Rasmussen,
Aye.
Specker,
Aye.
Tilton Burn,
Aye.
Wendell,
Aye.
Avery.
Aye.
Duran.
Aye.
Okay, that's pretty much the business tonight. Review our next meeting. We'll have SDSU Student Association. We have no change orders or contracts currently. No first reading ordinances yet, but we have floodplain development and budget number 7 for second readings next meeting. With that being said, does council members have anything on future agenda they would like to discuss? Okay, we will be going into executive session. There will not be any action taken after the meeting. So enter into executive session pursuant to SDCL 1-25-2.3 for consulting with legal counsel or reviewing communications from legal counsel about proposed or pending litigation or contractual matters. Entertain a motion to go into executive session.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those
Aye.
opposed, same sign. We're in executive session.